What's going on, guys? Noah here with Northern Scavenger. It's that weird time of year between winter and spring where there's a lot of freezing rain and snow. But I'm out in the river for the next 3 days with my hot tent and some good food. We got some rapids ahead of us. And this is the first river that I paddled in Nova Scotia about 10 years ago. So it's a full circle moment for me. And I'm just glad to be back out on the river after a cold winter. Dropping off significantly up here. Feels pretty good though. Let's go. This is the Devil's Jaw. Good spot to stop. Hopefully that's not a bad omen. Oh. For how flooded these rivers were a few weeks ago, they've really come down quite a bit. Nova Scotia is a small piece of land out here in eastern Canada, and there's not much headwaters. So a lot of these rivers swell and shrink based on floods and droughts. Compared to last summer, the water level is substantially high. These rivers were so low that you could walk up them and not even get wet feet. This is a cool spot. Whoop. All right, the river's getting a little more narrow and intimate here, which is what I want. There's a life jacket here. That was an actual marked portage, which is great to see. Nova Scotia Canoe and Kayak is an organization here that does a lot of portage maintenance and trail building and mapping of canoe routes. And they're an amazing resource and a great group of guys keeping the backcountry alive here. The rain has been holding off kind of most of the day. We've been lucky. The forecast said rain today, rain tomorrow, and snow on Thursday. We'll see if things change for us. This time of year, the weather's always changing. If you don't get the weather report the morning of, it's probably wrong. That also makes it a little exciting because for an optimistic guy like me, even if it says it's gonna pour, there's always a small chance it's not going to. Let's see if we can find a spot to camp tonight. Okay, that's a lot of wood. Okay, camp set up. It's 10 to 8, so that took me about 2.5 hours from getting to here with the canoe. So it's a lot of work getting the hot tent set up, especially with one person. A lot of chores to do, but it's already super hot in here. I can't wait to take this off and get some water in me and get dinner on the go. I'm making a hobo wrap, also known as a tinfoil wrap. Essentially, you just throw all your ingredients into aluminum foil, wrap it up, and throw it on the fire. Super simple. The idea is I can pull this off and everything's cooked at the same time. All right, let's take a hit. Not bad. A sauce might have been good to put over top, but overall, solid meal. Alright guys, that's a wrap for the day. It's 10 o'clock. Tomorrow we're going to be going through the most constricted section of the river, and it's in a bit of a valley, and that's going to be tomorrow morning. The weather tomorrow is forecast to be pretty rainy all day, so I'm going to enjoy my comfort and warmth and dryness in here tonight and get ready for tomorrow. We'll see you then. The simple things in life, I'll tell you that, my friends. I got a Garmin watch for Christmas, and it's one of those smart watches that you can track health metrics. I find it really cool to be able to put a benchmark or put numbers to how I'm feeling physically and mentally. So for example, yesterday, full day canoeing, 4,000 calories, which is interesting because on those big canoe trips I packed for 3,500 calories, so I'm still on a deficit. My sleep score last night was 92. I sleep really well. I've had a few 99s before, and my resting heart rate is 44. Pretty cool to put a number on some of these things and to be able to make some health goals as well. So big fan of this. I can also track activities. This one I can dive with too, because you guys know I've been getting into that as well. This is the Garmin Phoenix. Well, it's that time of the day to get dressed up and get out in the river. Conditions today are going to be rainy and probably about 3 degrees. Great weather for hypothermia. My setup is I wear long johns, base layer, mid layer, and then my dry suit. On my feet, I wear a neoprene sock and a low top hiking shoe. The purpose of the neoprene sock on the outside isn't necessarily for warmth, it's for abrasion resistance, so I don't puncture a hole from my dry suit rubbing against my shoe. On my hands, neoprene gloves are the way to go. I go mitten style. This time of year your hands will get wet, guaranteed, so if you use a standard winter mitten, they're gonna get damp and they're gonna get cold. So always go neoprene. Think like a surfer, be warm like a surfer. Okay, cut way too much wood last night, but it's better than the alternative. I don't know when the next people will be through here, and I'd hate to see this wood go to waste, so I'm actually gonna bring it with me. It'll get me started for tonight. Just doing a final sweep here at camp, but I'm noticing all the remnants of flood here. At one point, the water level was so high that this entire area was submerged. This area also has a lot of sand because during those big pulses of energy, all that finer grained sand material suspends in the water a lot longer and can flood into the forest. So along the river's edge here, a lot of the land is made up of fine grained sands, but it makes for great pegging for the tent and relatively flat too because it's a plain, so it's washed out with sediment. I'm in a very vulnerable situation right here. If this gunnel goes underwater, this is pinned. So I'm keeping all my energy on the right side here. And I'm gonna try to carefully get me unpinned. There we go. Close call. There used to be an old bridge that crossed the river here. Oh. is that? Starting to look a little fishy. Today is April 1st. Fishing season starts here in Nova Scotia. And I packed my rod. I just don't know where I put it. I don't know if it's in the car. I don't know if it's at the access point, but it's not with me. A lot of the rock we have around here is slate, which is metamorphosed shale, and that's a sedimentary rock. A distinctive feature are all these planes that make it look like a book. This is called slaty cleavage, and it forms perpendicular to the force put on the rock through tectonic forces. So in this case, the force came from the lateral, and it caused the minerals to realign in the route of least resistance, which is away from the force. Sometimes you can see the relic bedding of the sedimentary rock going this way, but I don't think you can see it here. I think I saw a little cabin on the side of the river here. Just pulled over to check it out. Oh, I see you. I saw this fresh porcupine poop and I looked inside, and inside of this oil drum there's a porcupine. I don't want to disturb him too much. It's a woodshed. What a weird spot. I'm not really seeing any obvious trail or main cabin or anything. Well, I'm gonna go leave this porcupine alone. I don't know how well that footage is gonna look, but he's right in there. The sun is out. I'm seeing blue sky up there too. We're going through some agricultural section of the river. I'm gonna be looking for camp in the next hour, so I wanna paddle through this section. Sun's out, a little windy, nice change of pace. I think we found home for the night. Fire pit, this thing. All right, what do we got for dinner? I got something interesting. This company sent me this package, this freeze-dried food, MRE. And this is not just a dinner, this is a full course meal. There should be a main course, dessert, maybe some other stuff. But the name of this is just called chicken chunks. 1,010 calories. Wow, okay. Electrolyte, creamer, pepper, salt, a spoon, crackers, peanut butter. Okay. Shortbread round. Snack crackers. And this must be the chicken. Maybe I just put the chicken on the snack crackers with peanut butter. Seems weird. Alright guys, you're seeing it here first. We're trying the chicken chunks cracker peanut butter mix from MRE. Well, it is what you expect it to be. It was simple. I thought I needed water. I didn't even need water. Convenience, 10 out of 10. Taste and creativity, 4 out of 10. Good if you need calories quick and you don't have a stove or anything. But I've come to expect a little more from backcountry meals. They gave me a few different ones, so I'm gonna try one that makes, like, maybe it makes a little more sense than this, but I don't really get this. All right, we got the shortbread round. It's all right. I was expecting it to be a little more dry, but not too bad. I think this is emergency food, not necessarily backcountry food. I didn't know there was much of a difference until now. Okay, early night for me. Half an hour of reading and off to bed. We have one more day out here. I'll see you tomorrow. Getting my water boiled for the day. I got my coffee and now I'm boiling my thermos water. As you guys know, when I'm on a winter trip or those shoulder season trips when it's cold out, I love having a hot drink. Something I started doing this year, which has been an absolute game changer, is I started adding bouillon cubes to the hot water to make a chicken broth. I'll add 3 of these cubes in my thermos of 1 liter of hot water. This is a lot of sodium for the day. I think 1 cube is something like 90% of your recommended dosage. But other than that, the saltiness, the umami, the hot, it's the perfect companion on a cold day out there. With bringing wood from the last campsite, as well as just cutting a small amount last night, I still had extra. So we're gonna leave this for the next people, because this is a designated campsite. Right across from camp is a gypsum outcrop. The raw gypsum looks like crystal, but as it gets weathered, it becomes bone white. Gypsum is an evaporite, and it formed from ancient shallow seas that evaporate, leaving a supersaturated salty brine, and all those ions, as it became more saturated, started to precipitate out and crystallize into what is known as gypsum. And over time they would accumulate, leaving these huge deposits, and in Nova Scotia we have a lot of it. It's been mined here since the late 1700s. The most modern day use for it is in drywall. That powdery white stuff you see in drywall, well, that's gypsum. And in Nova Scotia, we have issues with sinkholes, which are forming from these big slabs of gypsum underground that are dissolving from groundwater, leaving these voids, causing highways and houses to collapse into. So it's a bit of a hazard for us. Guys, that just about wraps this up. I'm about 1 kilometer from the bridge where my dad's gonna be picking me up. Thank you so much for watching. It's great to be back in the water after a long winter. It was a cold one, but it wasn't as bad as they were predicting. They were saying 2 days rain, 1 day snow. We got a little snow, a little rain, and a little sun. So it's always great to come out. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.